The Jonas Brothers may have reunited after a 6-year break, but they're no longer innocent teenagers with a Disney contract. Even before adulthood, though, Joe Jonas hasn't always lived the purest life. Nothing lasts forever, especially when it comes to boy bands. Just like One Direction and NSYNC eventually split to pursue solo careers, so did the Jonas Brothers. Nick, Joe, and Kevin were riding high on their wave of Disney success, headlining Camp Rock in 2008 and releasing several albums that led to successful tours thereafter. However, the group took a hiatus in 2013, postponing their plans to continue touring over what amounted to creative differences. According to a Reddit AMA hosted by Joe, Nick initiated the decision to break up the band. At the time, Joe had been dealing with problems of his own. He explained, "I was seeing a therapist and I wasn't on speaking terms with my brothers. Nick brought it to the table that he wanted to focus on different things, like acting and doing music on his own. At first, it was really shocking to me because it was kind of all I had known was the Jonas Brothers, forever. So I was pretty mad and confused." While the brothers went their separate ways and focused on their respective solo careers for years, they ultimately rebanded in 2019 to release more music together. They bounced back with their hit single Sucker, which landed at the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. For many A-listers, what goes on in the bedroom stays in the bedroom. But for Joe Jonas, intimate details about how he lost his virginity and to whom became public knowledge, much to the surprise of his ex-girlfriend. In his Reddit AMA, the Jonas brother didn't hold back when fans asked him when exactly he decided to ditch his infamous purity ring and sterling Disney reputation.
Look, Joe Jonas wasn't just sticking his fingers in some dumb metal rings, he was sticking his fingers in co-stars!
The star admitted he did the deed in 2010 with his then-girlfriend, Twilight star Ashley Greene, with whom he dated for around a year before they split in 2011. He elaborated, "I didn't have any condoms, so I went to our drummer Jack's room, who was my roommate at the time, and I demolished his room looking for them. When he came home, he thought somebody broke into his room because his whole room was demolished because I was in dire need. Needed to happen then and now. Safety first, kids." While Greene didn't comment publicly on the candid commentary, she did seemingly respond via Instagram. A day later, the actor posted a photo on her social media that read, "Class is timeless," which many fans took to be a dig at Joe. The franchise Camp Rock, which catapulted the Jonas Brothers to tween stardom, isn't exactly something Joe Jonas looks back on with fond memories. He admitted that the movie, in which he and his brothers play teen idols at a music camp for the musically gifted, is something he would rather forget about today. Also in his Reddit AMA, he revealed, "On a 1 to 10 rating of how embarrassing Camp Rock is to me now, 10 being the most and 1 being the least, I'm going to give it a solid 8. When I see old merchandise from Camp Rock days, or somebody is like, 'Oh my god, Camp Rock is my jam,' I really have a hard time believing them." Jonas explained that the styles of the Y2K era don't exactly fare well for him today, and it's difficult for him to watch the film back over a decade later. He admitted, "I think my flat iron hair and my squeaky voice are a little embarrassing. Also, I watch it now and realize it was so many years ago. It is really bad quality. It just reminds me of how much older I am now."
It's not all about your image. None of it means anything unless people see who you really are.
It's no secret that Miley Cyrus has long been a fan of marijuana. She smoked a joint on stage and even admitted she dabbled in it with her own mother. That being said, it's no surprise that Joe Jonas admitted that the fellow Disney star and his ex-girlfriend Demi Lovato were involved when he finally tried out smoking himself. In an open essay published by Vulture, Jonas admitted that he dabbled in recreational drugs when he was a teenager. As he wrote, "The first time I smoked weed was with Demi and Miley. I must have been 17 or 18. They kept saying, 'Try it, try it.' So I gave it a shot. And it was alright. I don't even smoke weed that often anymore." Jonas admitted that the fears of getting caught and ruining his reputation often kept him out of trouble. He continued, "I was caught drinking when I was 16 or 17, and I thought the world was going to collapse. But I was in another country and it was legal there. My 21st birthday, I fell down a flight of stairs. I was unconscious that time, and my whole team was scared to death that somebody was going to get a picture. Now I appreciate wine or a vodka soda at the end of the day every once in a while." Joe Jonas and Demi Lovato became an item in 2010 after they both starred in Camp Rock together. But their relationship was full of ups and downs. Shortly after they became public, Teen Vogue revealed that the pair had gone their separate ways. Jonas said at the time, "In this business, it's really hard to find people who are going to be there for the rest of your life. When I met Demi, I knew right away that our friendship was really strong. I don't want to lose that ever." The two still maintain a close friendship to this day, with Lovato even congratulating Jonas on his previous engagement to Sophie Turner. That bond remained strong as Lovato was struggling with her own issues with drug abuse. The singer admitted as much in his open letter, My Life as a Jonas Brother, saying, "I felt like I needed to take care of her, but at the same time, I was living a lie because I wasn't happy, but felt like I had to stay in it for her because she needed help. I couldn't express any of that, of course, because I had a brand to protect." Jonas recalled a controversial incident on a plane with Lovato when the two were touring together, in which he witnessed his then-girlfriend punch her dancer. He added, "It was an insane situation to be in. That's when her team and her family told her, 'You need to go into rehab.'" Joe Jonas's most notable relationship is with his ex-wife Sophie Turner. After he slid into the actor's DMs, the two started seeing each other in 2016. Jonas asked Turner to marry him just a year later, and the two tied the knot in Las Vegas in 2019, with a second ceremony in France. The pair's road to the altar wasn't without its difficulties though, as Turner admitted that they broke up once before the wedding. In an interview with the Sunday Times, the Game of Thrones star opened up saying, "It was the worst day of our lives. For a second, we both had cold feet. Then 24 hours later, we were both like, never mind." While their feelings of cold feet didn't last, neither did their marriage. The two ultimately filed for divorce 4 years later in 2023. Not long after tying the knot, Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner welcomed their first child together, their daughter Willa. 2 years later, Turner became pregnant with their second daughter Delphine, who was born in 2022. Turner allegedly had a harder time after the second delivery, but according to TMZ, sources claimed that she felt pressured by her then-husband to attend media events. One insider revealed, Sophie didn't want to leave their home. She didn't want to be photographed or go to events. Nevertheless, she attended several events with Joe. But at one specific event, several people who were there said Sophie made it clear she was uncomfortable and didn't want to be there. Sources also claim that Turner chose to skip out on one event that Jonas attended, which the former teen heartthrob was allegedly less than pleased about. Part of Turner's reason for turning down events with her then-husband could also have been due to her aversion to meeting other celebrities, as she admitted to Jimmy Fallon.
If a celebrity interacts with me, I immediately just shut them down and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with you. And secretly I'm like,
Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner ultimately called it quits in 2023. But the pair have different opinions on how their decision to split went down. The former spouses released joint statements on Instagram in September, writing, "After 4 wonderful years of marriage, we have mutually decided to amicably end our marriage." But according to court documents obtained by People, Turner claims she was blindsided by the split. Jonas's representative denied those claims, alleging that the former spouses had several conversations leading up to the divorce. Turner alleged that their marriage ended very suddenly over a disagreement that occurred on Jonas's birthday. She also claimed that she learned of her ex-husband's divorce filing through the tabloids. Sources told TMZ that the argument may have been related to something the singer caught on their home security footage. Another insider told Us Weekly that Turner had allegedly been talking about her husband badly behind his back. They elaborated, "It wasn't anything more than that, but that was the final straw." Multiple outlets have claimed that the pair's marriage had been on the rocks for months leading up to the divorce. As another source put it, Sophie says Joe was too controlling. She also said Joe liked to flirt a little too much while out in public, but then he wouldn't like it when she would get too close to her male friends. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner's divorce quickly turned nasty in the press, with multiple allegations coming to the forefront from each side. One of Turner's more shocking claims is that her ex-husband had been keeping their 2 daughters from her while she filmed the series Joan in Spain. Turner sued Jonas and asked for the children to be immediately returned to her care, adding that she and Jonas had previously planned on moving to England permanently. The lawsuit, filed in Manhattan, also alleged that the singer was keeping the children's documents. As the claim read, he refuses to return the passports to the mother and refuses to send the children home to England with the mother. Jonas's representative released a statement to People responding to the lawsuit shortly after, saying, "Joe and Sophie had a cordial meeting this past Sunday in New York, when Sophie came to New York to be with the kids. They have been with her since that meeting." Joe's impression of the meeting was that they had reached an understanding that they would work together towards an amicable co-parenting setup. The pair ultimately agreed to a temporary custody agreement and released a joint statement after weeks of mediation. It read, "After a productive and successful mediation, we have agreed that the children will spend time equally in loving homes in both the US and the UK. We look forward to being great co-parents."
I work harder to take more time off in my life now. I want to be able to be very present.
When it comes to celebrity divorces, the tabloids usually paint a picture of both parties being at war with each other. Whether or not that's the truth in their case is uncertain, but Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner's publicized split is no different. Many outlets have suggested that the singer's PR team has been attempting to portray Turner in a bad light, which may ultimately be backfiring on him. One insider close to Jonas previously told TMZ, "She likes to party, he likes to stay at home. They have very different lifestyles." But fans are questioning that notion, especially when it comes to Turner's past comments about her lifestyle in the press.
I'm an introvert. I'm a homebody. If I could stay at home all day, I would.
Whatever the case may be, people did notice that Jonas had debuted some new ink in the wake of his divorce, which could definitely be a telling sign as to how he's been feeling. The singer was seen with a new phrase tattooed on his arm in the wake of the split, reading, "I have woven a parachute out of everything broken."